Evening. This is Liz Whitaker of Divination Station. Thank you for joining this installment of Dive into Divination. Today, we're looking at astrology as one of the big five. Okay, we covered tarot, runes, and now we're on to astrology. So I know if you're watching this on my page, you're probably aware of astrology, okay, in a basic sense, what it is, what we use it for. And now I want to talk about how to use it in divination. I'm just sharing this out real quick. If you want to share it too, that would be awesome. So how it is used in divination. Again, just sharing this out a couple places. There we go. Okay, so as you pop on, please say hello. Share the broadcast out if you'd like. Again, this is just a quick look at astrology as divination. I'm not doing any card readings today. I promise to get back to that soon. It is taking a lot of energy to keep up on my stock. So that's taking a lot of my time. So what is astrology? So I did post the definition of what astrology is: the study and movements and relative positions of celestial bodies interpreted as having influence on human affairs in the natural world. So that's pretty much what we do with astrology, right? Our birth charts, our natal charts, look at the positions of celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, the planets, asteroids, where they are in that moment in time, if we're talking about a birth chart, where they are in relation to each other. And you can also do transits, which show, using your birth chart, will show where they are at any specific day. You can also do a birth chart for events. You can do basically a birth chart of the United States of America. You can run a chart for any major daily occurrence or any major historical occurrence. You can create a chart for that. You can also create a chart for the future. I have here, and you do this by using something that is called ephemera. So here we have the 2021 planet ephemeris. So this basically this is a chart. It's a mathematical chart, okay, that will say what position that planet will be in. So if you're planning something like a wedding or a major, maybe a launch for your business, anything like that, you can actually look at that date. And this one, this is the magic of iPlanner. Okay, this is just for this year, but you can get ephemera out for like decades. So you can see where things are that day. And you can make a determination based on that, whether or not it's a good day to do it. So astrology is based on a set of planets, our planets, and planetary gods. So we have deities. In Western astrology, we do use the Roman or Greek, depending on where you fall. We use their names. In Vedic astrology or Jyotish, they'll of course use the Indian deities. And so their charts are going to look a little bit different. Katie, hello. Their charts are going to look a little bit different than in Western astrology. The gods in mythology, Retta, hello. As we know, the gods mirror human conditions, right? We can see ourselves in them. And I think that's a key. Nope, I just started, Retta. When we look at mythology and we read the stories, what makes them interesting and what makes them resonate is we see ourselves in them. So if we're talking about the Greek and Roman pantheon, which, if we're talking about astrology, it's a pretty, it's kind of that's where we're going to go, right? So we are going to look at those stories and we can see ourselves reflected in them, right? The struggles, the desires, the foibles and follies of the gods, right? We can see reflected in ourselves. So that makes it particularly resonant when we use that in astrology. So we have the 12 zodiac signs, the movement, the planet, the stars, the asteroids. We can look at those days and times and what is, we can look at where they are. So how do we use that for divination? A couple different ways, right? We can do it to predict the kind of celestial, the celestial weather of that day, right? So if you want to look at a specific day, you look at that and you see where the planets are. If you see Mercury's in retrograde, and we're in retrograde right now, and it's again, it's a pretty common one that everybody at least now has a general awareness of. You might not want to go on vacation that day. You might not want to launch a vacation that day. If you're planning a wedding, you might not want to plan it when Venus is in retrograde. So you're going to want to look at that. If you're planning a business launch, you want to look at where Jupiter is. Anything like that. So that's going to help you kind of divine, right? Divine word of the gods, that moment in time. And that comes from Astrologia, an account of the stars. Exactly. Don't sign contracts, don't buy computers if Mercury's in retrograde. Astronomers, you may recognize their name. They were also astrologers. So Tycho Brahe, Johannes Kepler, Galileo, they were all, we know them as astronomers, but they also worked with astrology. So the two kind of weave together, and royalty very often would use astrologers or astronomers to predict the best days for battle. They were a trusted confidant of royalty, of rulers. Queen Elizabeth had John Dee, and that, if you're into alchemy or any of that, John Dee is probably a familiar name. So they looked at the stars, and they would advise, based on where the stars were, if that was a good time to do that thing. For divination, it also uses the lunar cycles. So if we're talking about the full moon, the new moon, that also, in divination, that falls into this category as well. So we know that the new moon is a great time for setting intentions. We just passed a new moon on the 11th. Of course, I totally forgot to do anything about it. It was in my head, so I thought about it, but I didn't actually do anything. But what it did is it actually, I did some intention setting for business, and as the moon grows after the new moon, your intentions grow. That's a form of divination. We are divining the future. We are trying to figure out the best time to do something. So lunar cycles also will fall under that. Lunar cycles, the regular movement of the stars. That's where astronomy and astrology came from. Navigation. Jennifer, hello. Regular movement of the stars. So, and there are stories, again, used by sailors and navigators, stories based on constellations. The zodiac falls into these constellations. So again, they can be used as an indicator of time for future predictions if you're using the ephemeris for future planning. You can use, a natal chart. We'll talk about the natal chart a little bit. It shows that snapshot of where things were that moment that you were born. You can do a transit chart with your date of birth and today. Okay, so you can see where everything is today, and it will reflect it in relation to where it was when you were born. So that's a transit. So again, you can see what the best time for you is for specific things as well. So that's a snapshot of a time and a place. Again, the Jyotish or Vedic astrology really looks at that a lot. They really look at nailing down those specific events. They will look at, it's a very similar system in as much as it has 12 houses, it has the signs, but it's different. I got this beginner book, and it just barely scratches the surface for that understanding of Vedic astrology. I do also have here an astrology kit. This is a vintage astrology kit that you can, and this was before you could just pop online, put in your birth date, put in your birth time, and have a chart produced for you. So this is actually how you do it by hand. Okay, so you can tell it's vintage, right? We got 1970s in here. So this looks back in time. So I think the last year was 1999. So this is to create a birth chart. So you get the time, you get the day, the time, and it will tell you the numbers and the aspects for that. And then the horoscope readings go along with that. So basically this, you take a number and you put it and you fill it in here. I did one of these ages and ages ago, but you kind of put in here. So this is a form of divination using astrology. So the name of the querent, name of the reader, the date, time, and place, the question asked. Okay, and then it has those numbers that you would follow in the ephemera. And then it says your notes on this reading. So again, this is by hand. And someone made some little notes on that before I got it. I did buy this, again, vintage. So this is a wheel that you basically follow, and it tells you where it is. So this is a divination method using astrology, and how to cast horoscopes is what they call them. So I thought this was kind of cool. I bought it a while ago. So that's, again, Riley, hello. So here we have the notepad, and this is how you do it by hand. So it's kind of cool. So that's how you would do use astrology for divination. Now, we often look at astrology slightly differently. We look at astrology to kind of, at least Western astrology, here. We look at astrology to look at our person, look at our personality, to see how we relate to others and how we express ourselves. Okay, so I think we might not think of astrology as, right, Monica? I know. We might not think of astrology as divination in that sense, but it is just as much a tool to look at ourselves, to look at, again, how we relate to others, and use the planetary correspondence, use the house system, use all of that to determine either, again, a place in time or a person's reaction, personality. So it is, in that sense, it is divination. So that's pretty much all I got on this intro to astrology for Dive into Divination. Again, these are just little quick snapshots just to kind of give you an indication of what that is. So next week, we're going to be looking at the I Ching. I'm going to start doing my research really pretty much after I get off this, because I am not familiar with I Ching at all. So it's going to be a learning experience for me. And that originated in China. Okay, so I'm looking at, again, in this series, different kinds of divination through various cultures, and if it's used now, if it was used then. I have some cool stuff kind of lined up to do. Again, I'm doing the big 5 first, and then we'll do about 15 to 25 minutes for each topic, and they will be going up on my YouTube channel, so they will be there forever. So I want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions or any suggestions, anything in particular that you would like me to tackle after we do the big 5 here, let me know, and I'll try to go in order if people request it. Okay. That's pretty much all I got today. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Anna, thank you.